And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Joe with Jonose Cigars. It is all but over 2019. Thoroughly enjoyed this past year of reviews and cigar videos in general. And I have to, with very few moments left in the year, have to put out a top 10 list for cigars that I have enjoyed this past year. And just to refresh everybody's memory, my top 10 list is not a top 10 list of all possible cigars that have been released in this year, or even cigars that are new to the market for this year. These are all just cigars that might be old, they might be brand new, they might be somewhere in the middle. The simple reason that I have them on the list is these are cigars that I have enjoyed more than I have in the past, and have enjoyed these top 10 cigars the most for 2019. So, without further ado, here is Jonose Cigars' top 10 cigars for 2019. Alright, so we're going to start with one of my favorite blenders, that is AJ Fernandez, and his take on the Ramon Allones in Churchill. This is a Nicaraguan Puro Ramon Allones, not the Cuban brand, of course. This is kind of a tribute to that brand, Ramon Allones. This was previously owned by General Cigar, and then AJ Fernandez took his hand at trying to make a blend that'd be a little bit more popular, and wow, does this one impress. Nicaraguan Puro, like I said, some really well-aged wrapper leaf on this beautiful stick. Incredible deep rich notes of dried fruit, coffee, and cocoa. Some rich fertile earth in there as well. Super thick smoke texture, incredibly full-bodied. Just about anything that AJ Fernandez touches, I'm always a big fan of, and this one is no exception. The AJ Fernandez Ramon Allones in Churchill. Moving on to one by Aganorsa leaf, a brand that has really impressed me this past year, and I'm going to one that has been around for a while, and that is the Guardian of the Farm in the Campion size. This is a torpedo stick with a beautiful closed foot. Lovely wrapper leaf on the outside, wonderful aromas pre-light that just suggested this is going to be a super nutty cigar, and is it ever a super nutty cigar. Fantastic flavors of cashew, almond, chestnut, hickory nut, Brazil nut, just about any nut you can think of. Just comes in a great melee of flavors that just really impresses. I love the way this thing performs. Great smoke texture. Check out the Guardian of the Farm if you have not already. I'm sure many of you have, but this is one that I have come back to time and time again in 2019. Moving on to one by Padron, of course, a perennial favorite for any cigar aficionado. And this one I'm going with their only Connecticut wrapped cigar, and that is the Damaso. This is the Robusto size, and one that is fantastic with morning coffee, midday sort of smoke, lovely coffee and nutty aromas, really velvety smoke texture, and just hints of spice in there. Not the super powerhouse that you would imagine from a lot of Padrones, but this one is a lighter take on what Padron typically offers. I have really gotten into Connecticut wrapped cigars in the last couple of years. Used to be just a full body only sort of guy, but I've kind of tempered my palate a little bit to start appreciating things that are on a little bit with the lighter and milder side, and this one fits right into that wheelhouse. The Padron Damaso, which is the number 8 cigar for this year on Jonose Cigars. Moving on to number 7, and this is a complete departure from the previous entry. That is something that is big, bold, full-bodied, and that is the Plasencia Alma Fuerte, the size the SIXTO 2, which is the only time I've ever seen a box press cigar in the shape of a hexagon. And boy, does this thing perform beautifully. Incredible smoke output, billows of thick, chewy smoke, incredibly intense flavors, wonderful Nicaraguan Puro by the Plasencia family. It's another brand that I've gotten into in a big way in 2019. That's Plasencia. I did a whole Plasencia month a couple months back. Really did enjoy it, and I'll be coming back to this one time and time again, I am sure. But the Plasencia Alma Fuerte in SIXTO 2 is, I think, the most impressive one that I've seen come out of that label. So check it out when you get the chance. Moving on to the number 5 entry, and that is one by Nick Melillo's brand, Foundation Cigars, the Wise Man Maduro. This is just a fantastic smoke. This is one of the few cigars that I have given a 5-puff score this year. When I did Foundation Month, this was definitely one of the entries I did, and I'm really glad I did this one. I have actually enjoyed this one in the past before this year, but I've really just rediscovered how incredible this blend is upon having it 3 and 4, 5 times, and once you get past number 5, you get into number 6, you realize how consistent this blend is. This is a fantastic full-bodied smoke. Wonderful, intricate flavors, great transitions, incredible performance, Really enjoyed this one. If you haven't tried it already, what are you doing? Get a hold of a box of the Wise Man in Maduro. Moving on to another brand, Pete Johnson's brand, Tatuaje. And this is the Tatuaje Avion in Perfecto Grande. A beautiful cigar to look at, incredible shape. I love the Perfecto size, and this one is done perfectly because the performance is fantastic. From the very first light until you put out the nub in the ashtray, this thing never falters. You never have to reach for the lighter again. Once it's lit, it is going to go for a very long time until you put it out, basically. Incredible draw, wonderful smoke output. This blend is basically the Fausto blend, and I'm sure a lot of people who follow Tatuaje cigars know exactly what I'm talking about. The Fausto blend, fantastic, super rich and flavorful cigar blend, and this is the same blend in a different size, the Perfecto Grande. Really love the way this one tastes, love the way it performs. Check it out, you're not going to be disappointed. Alright, moving right along. The next entry is by EP Carillo, and that is the La Historia E3 size. This is basically a big Churchill. About the length of a Churchill, a little bit bigger ring gauge, box press. Number 2 cigar of 2014, and it easily could have been the number 1 cigar in my opinion. This is another cigar that I gave a 5-puff score previous year, of course. And, well, no, it was the January of 2019 I gave this in EP Carillo month, yeah. And that was a 5-puff score. Mr. Stevens and I did review this one, and we were basically in agreement that this was an almost absolutely perfect cigar, one that I come back to often, and really reasonably priced. You can easily get a box of 10 for under $100. What are you doing? Go buy a box. The box is gorgeous too, so you're not going to be disappointed by this one either. Ernesto Perez Carrillo always makes solid blends. This is no exception. We are now entering the top 3 of the list, and we are not going to be going without visiting Crown Head's repertoire of cigars, and the one that really stuck with me this year was the Juarez, particularly the Robusto size. Super coffee and espresso notes on this one. Lovely little cigar, super inexpensive. You can get these for under $5 sometimes. What? That's right. And a plus, you're going to get a great smoke time, over an hour, for a cigar that's, you know, right about 5 inches. That's a pretty good value, regardless of what the price tag is. And super simple band with a little bowl, but super amounts of flavor on this one. Try out the Juarez by Crown Heads and thank me later. Moving on to number 2. One by Steve Saka's brand, Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. The one that impressed me the most this year, the Todos Dias in Robusto. Absolutely wonderfully satisfying cigar. Super full-bodied, super rich and thick smoke, incredible smoking performance, lovely draw, just incredible aromas. Had a really hard time believing that this had never made a top 10 list for other people before. You've got to try this one. If you like full-bodied sticks, this is going to be right up your alley. It certainly did it for me, and I know I'll be coming back to it. Just bought a box. Before we get to the number 1 entry on this list, I have to give a nod to a couple of honorable mentions. And the first one on the honorable mention list is the Montecristo Espada. This is the original Espada, not the Oscuro wrapped one. This is the original Espada by Montecristo. This is one of the most flavorful of the non-Cuban Montecristos that I've had. Definitely one that I will be buying more of in the future, and have smoked a lot of these this year. Really super enjoyable, medium-bodied sort of cigar, wonderful nut and coffee flavors, really enjoyable levels of spice, incredible retrohale and aromas. Check out the Montecristo Espada. And another honorable mention, and this is going to be a Lancero, and that is from the Black Label trading company, the Morphine. Really intense but sweet smoking experience, and don't let Lancero size fool you. This has got a great draw and wonderful smoke output. I have for a long time been kind of eschewing the Lancero Vitola for whatever reason. I guess I just had these preconceived notions that the flavor wasn't going to be that intense, or that the draw was going to suck. I couldn't be more wrong. The flavors, if anything, are more concentrated because of the smaller ring gauge, and the smoke output, if it's rolled right, you shouldn't have any problem whatsoever. So check out the Black Label Trading Company, in particular, the Morphine in Lancero. Which brings me to the final entry of the list. The cigar that I have enjoyed the most for 2019 is one by Paul Stulac and his Lancero, the Red Screaming Sun. This is a cigar that I was brought to my attention by the Privada Cigar Club. If you haven't joined the Privada Cigar Club, you've got to. Otherwise, you may never be able to get access to the cigar. Paul Stulac, a very obscure name in the cigar industry, has wonderful blends under his name, and the one that I really dig the most is the Red Screaming Sun. You know, lagers aren't particularly considered a classic pairing for cigars, but this one proves that notion all wrong, because this is the cigar that I think pairs so well with nothing other than a good golden lager. I had this for the first time this past summer, had it with a tall glass of lager, and boy was it amazing. Super bread notes in there, lots of herbal and vegetal notes in there, and there's some sweetness in there, there's some earth in there, but just incredible yeasty flavors that come through, and when you have it with a Pilsner, it just blooms into this wonderful myriad of delicious goodness. So check out the Paul Stulac Red Screaming Sun and anything else by Paul Stulac, and also check out the Privada Cigar Club when you get the chance. There you are. That is my list for 2019. I am very much looking forward to what 2020 has to offer. I'll be looking for my Humidor tour, which will be coming sometime in this coming month in January. I hope you all enjoyed the list. I know I sure did, and will be enjoying them for many more days to come. Don't forget to check out my Instagram handle, @Jonose Cigars. And if you feel so inclined to support this channel, you can go to the Smoke a Good One shop to get merchandise, much like this handsome little t-shirt here. There's also hoodies, phone cases, coffee mugs, etc. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great new year. And until next time, everybody, smoke a good one.